video, we're going to work on your slide chops in standard tuning. First, I'll take you through a few tips to keep in mind while playing slide in standard tuning. Then I'll give you an overview of an example, the one you just heard, and then we'll dig in and break it down note for note. Hey, John here with your Tuesday Blues, where each week we come together to help you play better guitar with lessons like the slide guitar lesson that we're going to dive into today. We're going to get in note for note, but if you'd like to follow along with the guitar tab or the super cool Sound Slice tab player and even grab the backing track, you can do so by becoming a premium member. All of these materials are available with premium membership, which you can find out more about at bluesguitarinstitute.com. And if you are a premium member already, thanks. And just look for TB348 in the My BGI lesson library. Playing slide guitar in standard tuning isn't that much different from playing in open tunings, but we don't have the help that an open tuning can give us, meaning we don't have a big open chord that exists just by strumming the guitar open or by barring across the fret, something that's really helpful to us when wearing this inflexible hunk of metal or ceramic or whatever and sliding it up and down the neck. So I want to talk about a few things to keep in mind that will help you make some really cool music while playing slide in standard tuning. Now, the big advantage of open tunings is that you can play that chord just by barring across all 6 strings. When wearing a slide, just place the slide over a fret and play all 6 strings, right? But with standard tuning, that's not the case. Well, it's a chord, but it's not a chord that you would actually use anyway. But fortunately, in standard tuning, there are 2 very important triads embedded in the tuning itself that you can play with a bar, or you can play with a slide on your finger. Group strings 4, 3, and 2 in bar, or play with the slide. And you've got a major triad. We can also group strings 3, 2, and 1 at any fret, and we get a minor triad. The key to getting a lot of use from these miniature bar shapes, these triads, major and minor, is knowing where the root is. That's going to help you really put these things into action. The root for the major triad, the one that's on strings 4, 3, and 2, is on the 3rd string. So wherever you place the slide across these 3 strings, you've got a major chord, and the chord will get its name from the note on the 3rd string. So for instance here, that's a C note, so we have a C major triad here. With a minor triad, the root is on the 1st string. So for example, this is an A minor because 5th fret, 1st string is an A. Okay, this tip is certainly a bit on the advanced side of slide. Nailed it. This tricky but extremely freeing technique helped me take my slide playing to the next level. Essentially, it's a way of incorporating fretted notes into your slide lines. And yeah, you can certainly do this in open tunings, but when you're in standard, the fact that there isn't that big old chord spanning all 6 strings really leads me to use this technique much, much more. So let's have a look at playing behind the slide. Let's kind of see what it looks like and how you can start incorporating it into your playing. Now, I wear my slide these days on my little finger. I used to wear it on my ring finger. I switch, that's another story. But no matter which finger you're going to wear the slide on, that leaves 3 or maybe even just 2 fingers behind the slide. And these fingers aren't really doing anything other than maybe muting, which is a whole separate discussion. But we can put these to work by fretting a note. But if you just fret, say taking this index finger and fretting that C while you're up here at D, remember, that's a D note, so D triad there. And if we want to play that C and don't do anything with the slide, we get that cracky sound, that buzzy sound. Not a clear fretted note. So what we need to do is get the slide up and out of the way. And all I did there is slightly, you might not even be able to see it with this camera angle, but I slightly picked up this slide. I'm not doing this. That might work in some cases, but I want to challenge you to get in the habit of just playing with that fretted note while the slide is just barely off of the string. It takes some control and it definitely takes some practice. The reason that I really like this is that playing quicker lines where you're alternating between the slide note and the fretted note, you really don't have time to come all the way off of the fretboard like that. We want to keep it nice and controlled, nice and tight. So just hover off of the strings slightly. And one good way to kind of get there, because this definitely takes some time to master, is to just practice a simple lick, like maybe this. Slide, fret, slide. That's on the 7th fret of the 4th string there. So that's 3rd string, back on the 3rd string, 4th string, 7th fret again, and then 5th fret, fretted, and then slide. So we're playing the notes here at the 7th fret with the slide, and just playing around with those. It really doesn't matter the order that you're playing those with. Just want you to practice and you'll know you're doing it right when you get a good clear note when you fret it. Notice how little I'm moving the slide. It stays right over the strings, ready to jump back into action. And this certainly takes some time to get down. And if you're not quite there yet, you can modify the lines that we're going to cover in this example to be played entirely with the slide. But if you really want to add some great contrast to your slide playing, and this really will level up your slide skills, this is a technique that you should definitely get to know. In the performance at the beginning of the video, I was playing over a 2-chord track. We're hearing G major and A minor 7. I used the G major scale in a few different positions. It was almost entirely the G major scale. There's one note that kind of slips out of the scale for just a moment, just to keep things fun and interesting. And we'll talk about that when we get to that point in the breakdown. I also use the notes from each chord as target tones, and you can learn more about target tones and how to use them while soloing by checking out Tuesday Blues 345. But in short, try to highlight a note or notes from the chord that you're playing over. For example, the opening phrase hangs on the B note, and the B is in G major. That's the major 3rd of the chord that we're working over. During the example, I utilized the minor tribar on the top 3 strings when the track was playing an A minor 7. And as you probably noticed, I definitely played behind the slide quite a lot. I'll point that out where it happens as we start breaking down the solo. So the track is going to play a G chord for 2 bars, that's G major, and then an A minor 7 for 2 bars, and we're just cycling through that. Since we're starting out over this G, we're going to call out a target tone, and that's here, 4th fret, 3rd string. That's the major 3rd of G. And the phrase sounds like this. All right, that's the opening phrase, and we kind of answer that with. All right, so let's break down these first couple of phrases here. First off, sliding into the 4th fret, 3rd string, twice like that. So we kind of choke it out the first time and then let it ring and apply some vibrato. After that, we're going to slide down to 2, 2nd fret, and then do a pull off. We're just kind of like picking the slide up and off of the string. If you've got a good slide note that's nice and clear, just pick up and you've got a pull off. All right, so that first phrase, All right, and then we kind of act like we're going to repeat that by sliding in, but we switch to that behind the slide playing here. By playing some fretted notes, we're going to play the D on the 2nd string, 3rd fret, and then that B that we played before on the 4th fret of the 3rd string, but we're doing that with a finger. We're fretting that. All right, and the reason is I want to slide into this E, 5th fret, 2nd string, at the top of the next measure. So let's hear these two. I'll include this as kind of the ending sort of cap on this phrase, but that really is where the chord changes and we start another phrase over A minor 7. Nice to kind of connect where we're going here though. So here's the first couple of phrases. All right, and that E is a target tone from our A minor 7. All right, it's in there. And so we're really transitioning into that E just the right time. It's when the chord changes. All right, and this measure, what we're going to do is slide in. I already know that. We started there. All right, we've got a tricky move there for sure. Right there. We want to pull off from the slide to the fretted note. So, all right, so we hit that note, the C note, 3rd string, 5th fret twice, and then pull off after the 2nd time. All right, and that can get kind of tight. You might want to use a different finger for the fretted note, but I'm quite comfortable kind of staying nice and cozy here in this tight spot. So I'm using the index finger, and it also gets me in a nice position to slide up and finish this lick on the A 7th fret of the 4th string. Whoop, we can do better than that, right? Let's do it. All right, and again with that pull off, if you've got a good slide note sounding nice and clear, you should just be able to pull off. Just pick it up off the string and make sure that this finger is in its place, and as you do, and you'll get a good pull off. All right, and if you want to get super detailed about it and clean things up, try to avoid any buzz. I heard a couple of buzzes there when I was just doing that, but what I really am looking for is something nice and clear. That had a buzz. That sounded better. Buzz. There we go. All right, so we want clear, we don't want the buzz. All right, so spend some time just doing some pull-offs to an open string and to a fretted note. Definitely a cool technique to put in your slide playing. But back to the phrase here. What we're doing after we slide up to that A is some of that behind the slide stuff. All right, so what we're doing is, remember we're here, we're going to slide back into the A note and go back and forth between that A with the slide and the C fretted. That C is on the 3rd string, 5th fret. Then we're sliding up to finish the phrase and kind of take us up to the 9th fret, 7th fret area. And then something very similar, but a different melody taking shape here. So that's with the slide, 9th fret, 2 times with the fretted note on the 7th fret, a D. Then we're dropping down to the B on the 4th string, 7th fret. Then back to the D, then back to the E. You can slide into that B if you want. Do this twice. And then that cool move there, where we go. All right, and just exaggerating that movement so you can see we've got slide, slide, fret, slide, fret. That's all. The slide notes are played with at the 9th fret, and then the fretted notes are at the 7th. All right, that is tricky, no doubt about it, because we gotta make sure that we get the slide in position pretty quickly here as we climb up the strings. Then we're going to move into, I love this part of the phrase. Right, we're going to slide into that 8th fret, 2nd string, 2 times and apply vibrato. All right, and after these pair of slides here on the 2nd string, we're going up to the E on the 3rd string and doing that sort of rubber band slide where we're kind of sliding back down to the 8th fret. That's the note that's out of the key. And then back up to E. Then again, we kind of fake like we're going to repeat that. But instead, we go up to the A, 2nd string, G, 2nd string, so that's 10th fret, 8th fret, and then back to the E. And then from here, we're working ourselves back down the neck. Fretted, slide with the finger. That's a finger slide here. And again, we just play the 7th fret and then down. I think I may have said 7th fret here, but it's the 9th fret with the slide. 7 to 5 on the 3rd string. And then that slide is from 5 down to 4. All right, kind of where we started this whole thing. And then we've got a couple of phrases that repeat themselves. You can kind of notice a pattern here. We're setting ourselves up for repeats, and then we kind of take them somewhere slightly different. So in this section, we're here. We ended with a fretted note. What we're going to do is that, but we want to harmonize that with the 2nd string. All right, so I'm just taking the 2nd string along for a ride using this little shape. Do it again. Pluck the open 1st string, and then pluck the 2nd string. After that little slide thing, that double stop, that's at the 3rd fret. And then finally, we're sliding in to the minor triad on the top 3 strings. Doing this little phrase before really dragging out that slide from 5 down to 4. That's where the track is changing back to G. All right, when I do that, I just want to hear that 3rd string slide. I don't want to hear these top 2 strings. That's not going to sound real well, so I'm muting those. They're nice and ringy, but I mute them. Notice I just kind of put my fingers on the strings, on top of the strings here, to just kind of stop them as I do that final slide. I want that one single note to ring out. All right, now that we've gotten into it, let's have a look at the performance one more time. Thanks for checking out this lesson. If you got something from it, be sure to give the video a thumbs up. It's free and it helps me get these lessons out to more folks like you. And if you want to keep learning, just click or tap right over here and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, practice smart and play on.